Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Kris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. Get ready to meet one of the most inspirational, dynamic, and business-savvy women in the early learning industry today. This is episode 180 of Childcare Rockstar Radio, featuring Latrice Galloway, the Childcare Chic. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you today to a leading speaker, a force to be reckoned with, and an incredible brander, somebody who has taken personal branding to the next level here in our industry. And being one myself, a woman who is really into personal branding, you know that if I'm following this woman, she's got to be great, right? It's Latrice Galloway, the Childcare Chic, and I'm very excited to be a keynote speaker at her upcoming conference, the Born to Teach, Born to Lead Con. Born to Teach Con is her event, and I'm very excited to be flying to Houston and meeting with all of the folks that will be there live for this event here shortly. In fact, when this podcast lands, the conference will be starting the very next day. So I am thrilled to bring Miss Galloway to you today. We talk about the two things that every ECE professional must try to take into consideration, the two big pieces of advice that Latrice has to share today. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned in for that. And we talk about how she got started being a coach and being a consultant in this industry, the value of using coaches, why use a coach and what can you gain from it, and a little bit about what sets her schools apart, how she started, how she got fully enrolled quickly. You're definitely going to want to pay attention to this advice, and talking about missteps in our industry that we see that can be avoided. So a lot of meaty content in this one, guys, and we're going to dig right into it. What am I doing over here in Colorado is getting ready to speak at Latrice's event, and I just got back from Costa Rica, where we hosted a 4-day mastermind retreat for our highest level members inside the Empire track of the Childcare Success Academy. And we've got 60 folks, 60 companies inside that track. And many of them, most of them showed up in Costa Rica for a super high level VIP experience that contained a lot of fun, a lot of networking by the pool, and intimate, deep conversations about what's working in your business, oftentimes over a cocktail. And we had a great time. And it was a very refreshing way for everybody to recharge their battery. Many of us got some spa time, got some massages, and then amazing content was shared. We got really vulnerable on this trip, and the owners, 99% of whom are multi-site owners owning between 2 and 16 locations, shared the challenges and the struggles that they're facing here in the summer of 2024. So it was a deeply safe space where people got really vulnerable. And I was just happy to be in the room and to have founded and created such a cool tribe. So thank you to the coaches and to Jennifer Connor and to all of you amazing Empire members that gave and poured your hearts out and showed up fully. And it showed from that experience that we just had in Costa Rica. So I am going to just dive into this episode. It's a juicy one, and I can't wait for you to listen in, hopefully with a pencil in hand, to get some content, get some writer downers. And as always, take action on what you hear here on the podcast. Just these tips, strategies, and ideas can spur you to the next level. And that's what it's intended to do. So let's dive in and meet the Childcare Chic, Here at Childcare Rockstar Radio, Miss Latrice Galloway. Enjoy it. Welcome back to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am very excited to have this guest with us today, Miss Latrice Galloway. How are you, girl?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I am so happy to finally get you here on this podcast. I don't even know what I was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I have not had her on the podcast. And I had this realization last week and I was like, Robin, see if we can get her, because I am so excited that I'm going to come and be with you at your Born to Teach, Born to Lead event here in a few weeks. And when this podcast is launching, the event will be starting shortly thereafter, after this episode goes live. So I'm very excited to bring you in. Where are you right now?
So right now I'm at my headquarters in my office here in Rosenberg, Texas. So this is where all the magic happens.
Nice. I love it. I love your backdrop. You look so
Thank
stylish.
you.
Yeah.
It's pink.
It's pink. So tell us a little bit about your professional journey. What are the main or the big kind of steps and leaps that have brought you to where you are today?
So I started 17 years ago. I've been in childcare 17 years. And I always tell this story that I was just a mom moving to a new community looking for quality, affordable childcare for my son, who's now 25, but then he was probably 6. And so I couldn't find anything. And God started nudging at me that maybe this is something that I should do. But this was a total career change for me. You will find that out later on in the episode. And so I just I took this leap of faith and I started this journey. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew I could do it. And so I opened my first location, did really well. Within a couple months, we were full because I brought something that the community needed. Fast forward, was able to build my own school 5 years later from the ground up. So now I have a 15,000 square foot school that I designed and built myself here in Rosenberg, Texas. That has been going well. I've been having my building for 12 years now. And I continue to just grow, build my team, grow in this childcare journey and learn as much as I could. And eventually during COVID, I always would get people to just ask me, can you help me? Can you help me open a center? How do I do it? And so I would talk to them and just give them pointers and advice. And while we're home during COVID and we're on Clubhouse and I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start this as a business to really help coach and consult other childcare owners of how I did it, because I know it was so many people wanting to get in the industry, hence how the Childcare Chick was born. I was trying to find a name that fit me and that was still
Right.
fun. And so again, that I spoke with one of my coaches and I said, I want to do this. Help me. How do I launch this brand? And I want it to be amazing. I want to be different from, what I see. And so we birthed this brand. And I think social media kind of took it by storm just because
Yeah.
like who is she with all this pink on all the time? What does she do? And I want to know a little bit more about her. And that's kind of how the Childcare Chick brand grew. And I saw the vision just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I saw the need, and I'm a big person that says, if there's a need, let me find a solution. And so
Nice.
that's what I did.
I love it. So with the Childcare Chick brand, how much time are you spending in that versus how much time are you spending running your childcare center? I mean, are you completely hands off now on
I'm
the
not going to say completely. I will usually stop by my center once a week, but honestly, when I'm there, I'm literally just engaging, building relationships, checking things really briefly, and then I'm a couple hours a week in my center. I really don't have to be in my center. So I'm not going to
Okay.
say I'm completely off, but because I'm still one of those people, I still like to know, be in the know. I still want relationships with the staff. And so I usually try to spend at least one day a week at my center.
Okay. And how big is your team at the Childcare Chick?
Right? The childcare chick is me and my assistant. That's
Okay.
me and her. And then I do have a marketing team. So let me say that I have a marketing team,
Yeah.
but here with me all the time running this, it's me and her.
Nice. And then over at the center, how big is your
At the
team?
center, we're about 27 staff. Usually we're about 32 when we're fully staffed. So right now
Mhm.
we're about 27.
Okay, cool. So we're going to dig into your leadership style and your culture of your school and all of those things about your program. But I also am interested and intrigued about when you mentioned Clubhouse, because I just remember back in the day of COVID hanging out, and Clubhouse became very popular because people were loving this mostly audio based format, all audio format of being able to tune into live coaching, live content, live any kind of topic that, and it was just like this crazy like birth of this Clubhouse thing. And we were
Yeah.
like, what the heck is Clubhouse?
They're
So
crazy. I would spend
I
so much
know.
time on that. My family
Yeah.
was like, "Are you on Clubhouse again?"
So are you still on there? Is that still a thing?
I have not. I let the app go two years ago, and I
That's
have
what I
not
thought.
looked back. I don't even. I've never heard anybody talk about it in the last probably 2 years.
Yes, I think it completely like had this huge birth and
Yes,
excitement during COVID, and then everybody left and
yes.
just went back to regular social
But it
media.
was great because I built
Yeah,
a lot of. I mean, a lot of meaningful connections and friendships was made from people you never even saw.
yeah,
So
exactly. You were just talking.
yes.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your home life. What is life like for you at home, and what are some hobbies and interests? Do you have any family members living at your house? Any pets? Just tell us more.
Yeah, so I have 3 children, 25, my, middle son's getting ready to be 16, and I have a 9-year-old daughter. I've been married for 17 years, and we have little Louis V, which is our mini poodle, and then my mom also lives with me, who you will find out later, she really when I started my childcare center, I didn't have anyone. I'm not from here. And so I moved my mom
Okay.
down to help me, and she was my first employee, the one that I couldn't even pay, but she was my first employee. And then once the business boomed and I was like, you can retire, just stay home and help me take care of my kids so I can continue to grow my empire. So my mom, we call her our nanny granny. Because she's that backbone why I can travel and do all the things because I don't really have to worry about my children anymore because my mom is right there picking up those pieces while I'm growing my businesses. Um
Nice.
Hobbies, I have 2 hobbies, they're both kinda expensive. I like to shop and I like to travel. I
All
love to
right.
shop, I love to travel. So those
Cool.
2 if I can do that anytime I want, I'm a happy girl.
Right. I hear you. So where do you like to travel to? What are some go-to destinations, or maybe something that's on your bucket list?
So recently, I just celebrated my birthday, and so I came back from Turks and Caicos. Oh, so beautiful. So I was there, but on my bucket list, and it's gonna be really soon, I wanna go to Bali and the Maldives.
Nice. Those are
So
those are two on mine as well. So
really, and
yep.
Greece, and I haven't been
Oh,
to Greece yet.
yeah, yeah. I went to
Yeah.
Greece last summer in Santorini, so that was
Yes.
definitely the top of my list. So that was great. So
But I'll
love
go
that.
anywhere, honestly. Just put me on a plane, give me some water, give me a beach, I will go.
Yes, I agree. Love it. And of course, when you're shopping, you're looking for your signature pink as well as I'm sure other items, but like
Mainly, pink does if I'm in a store, pink, I usually just spot the pink, but my whole closet isn't pink, but I just
uh,
spot the pink first,
yes.
and I love shoes. I have a lot of shoes, uh,
Uh-huh.
and I love handbags and just anything. I'm not it doesn't matter if it's high end, low end. If I like it, I buy it, and so it makes me happy to shop.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's cool that that's part of your branding is that you have this glam component into your branding. So, one
Mhm.
of the women that I have coached with and been in her mastermind group who I followed for years that is super glam, her podcast was Glambition Radio, Allie Brown. She was
Uh-huh.
my guest on my 100th episode, and she's very glamorous. So you have brought that in your own way, in your own, vibe, your own character into your brand. So talk a little bit about the vision for your brand. Like when you came up with your brand color is pink and you have this essence of kind of being, the childcare chick is like a glambition style childcare coach.
Mhm.
Like is that just like an extension of your natural personality? You love
That
to
is
shop. Yeah.
definitely a extension of my natural personality. And so when I was meeting with my marketing and branding coach, I said, I want to do this. I said, but I don't want to change who I am. I said, and if they receive it, they receive it. If they don't, they don't. But I did have businesses before where I really wasn't 100% myself and I didn't like it. And so
Right.
with this, I said, I want to be 100% myself. I want all the glam. If they think I'm doing too much, I love it. Maybe they're not doing enough. I love to do a lot. And so I was very adamant with that. Pink was always my favorite color. It used to be purple, but pink has been for a while now. And so I said I want to incorporate that in there. I still want to be stylish. I don't care if they think, "Oh, you're going your center in heels," because I've heard that. I do. My staff know that I do. Do you wear makeup? Not every day, but yeah, absolutely. That's just part of who I am. And so that was very important to me. And I love it. And I think that's what made me stand apart because it was like, who is she? She's going to her center in heels and dress. And now a lot of my clients are like, you have inspired me to go to work and look like, the boss, the leader, and
Yes.
wear my polo like I'm the teacher. Now I will on a day I know I'm going to work, I'll put on my polo, but also I will glam up and go in and be the leader.
Yeah.
So I've inspired a lot of people to do that because in childcare, it's like, man, we're gonna be with the kids all day. I'm wearing shorts and tennis shoes. Well, that was not my mindset when I started.
Right. I love that. I love that. What is a fun fact about yourself that hardly anyone knows about you?
Well, I was gonna say that I love pink, but I guess that's not fun. Everybody knows that. But what some people may not know is before I started changing lives with children, I used to change lives with felons. So my degree is in criminal justice,
Oh,
and
wow.
yes, and, almost for 6 years, I was a parole officer, and right when I was ready to open my childcare center, I tell this story a lot, like, literally the day I signed my lease, I had a call from a job with the FBI that I was waiting on for a year, and
Wow.
I said, "I guess I didn't get the job," and they called me after I had signed my lease and paid the deposit, and I
Ugh.
think about that now because it coulda went the other way around, and my life would
Mhm.
totally be different.
That's right.
God does
Interesting.
everything, when it's supposed to be and how it's
Mhm.
supposed to be
Mhm.
done. And so I'm here now. But yeah, people may not know that I worked for 6 years in prisons and as a parole officer.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. That's interesting. And where are you originally from? Because you said you're not from Texas.
Well, I'm from Texas, but I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, okay.
And
Cool.
so I decided to move. It's only like 2 hours away, two and a
Yeah.
half hours away. My family still lives there. I go there a lot, but I wasn't from here. I didn't know anybody when I moved here.
Yeah. To Houston.
Didn't know
Cool.
anybody.
Did you move there because you fell in love?
Nope, I actually moved here because I was born and raised in San Antonio, and I was like, I want out. I didn't really feel like, career-wise, I could grow because that's when I thought I was gonna be corporate. I had just graduated with my master's, and I said, "I really can't grow here," but I also am very family-oriented. Anybody that knows me knows that, and I didn't wanna leave my family too far where if I was homesick or I wanted to go, I can just jump in my car and go.
Yeah.
And I went to college here, so I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna move back to Houston." I packed up my son and we came, and then love happened as soon as I got here. I met my husband within like 2 weeks of me moving here.
Wow.
That it's super crazy, and the rest has been history.
History. Yeah. Love
Mhm.
that. Very cool. So when you started your childcare center, what were some of the things that you wanted to build into how what would set you apart? Like your branding for your center or how to set yourself apart from the centers down the street? What did you want to do have as your unique benefits and features?
So when I first started, I had no experience in childcare. So I really didn't know what I wanted, but I knew I wanted to be different. So I went and toured a few of the centers that were in the area. And what I felt like they were lacking, again, this was 17 years ago, they weren't big on curriculum. It was like still come, play, no structure. They were very dark. They didn't really, you can tell they didn't invest a lot in their program. They didn't have any extracurricular. And one of the main things they didn't have that I brought, technology. Everybody was still on paper and ProCare was just coming out. And
Yeah,
I was like, I don't care how much it costs, you won't be signing in on paper here.
that's
So
right.
that traveled really fast. And so I started, even though we didn't have iPads, then I had a computer lab 17 years ago. And so parents started realizing, okay, they have curriculum here, they're very innovative. And then it was very bright. So it looked fun. I was big on making learning fun, and that's still my motto now is making learning fun. Like
Nice.
learning is not always fun for kids, but if you make it engaging and fun, they will learn and they will love it. And
Yep.
so that's what I did. And of course, as I continue to grow and continue to learn and grow in this industry, I started doing so many other things to make us stand out now. And we just really became a household name in the industry. And we opened super early. No one's not opening earlier than 7:30. We started opening at 5:30 to accommodate a local business here that the first shift started at at 6.
Hmm.
Parents were struggling. They were taking their kids to work with them, leaving them in the car until their break. So I saw a need.
Yep.
I, we're going to open at 5:30, and that just took
That's
this.
it.
Yep, it just and I'm in a. It's not small now, but 17 years ago it was kind of a small community, and so I just always found things. Okay, they're not doing this. I got it. Okay, they don't do this. I got it. Okay, their vans are white. I'm gonna wrap all mine blue, red, and yellow. And I would literally have people saying, "Oh, my kids said they want to ride the yellow or the blue van with the big thing on the side." From it
Right.
just it just set us apart. All of that.
Yeah. I love that so much. That's where I started, Latrice, was helping people differentiate themselves back in
Mhm.
2009 when I first started as a coach. That's what I noticed as a mom was that everybody sounded and looked the same. And so I really dove into helping people identify their unique message, their differentiation, and really go crazy with it and match their market. So I love what you're sharing here because it's exactly my philosophy as well, which is you found pent up demand because of that 5:30 opening. You knew in your community there was a first shift or an early shift 6 a.m. Need, and you met it, and you can instantly get 10,
Oh, all
20,
the
30, 40 families just from that.
easily. It happened so
Yeah.
quick. I wasn't prepared. This was when I first opened. My son was my only child, and then 1 and 2, and now 10 and 20. And it's like, oh my, because they went back to work and said, oh, that new center, they open at 5:30 and they have this and they have that. And then next thing you know, anyone that had children, they were bringing, if they worked that first shift, they were bringing them, they were telling the people on the second shift and third shift. And it just, I had so many people from that particular company come to my center and still do. But then that's really what made me grow.
Yeah. Cool. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about your leadership style. So, when you started your program and now, fast forwarding today 17 years, so much has changed
Oh,
in
yes.
in staffing and in leadership and setting your school culture. I think that we in the industry have gotten a lot more sophisticated about our leadership, being more intentional
Yes.
about our leadership. So talk a little bit about maybe the early days, maybe what you didn't know that you know now, or how have you grown as a leader?
Man, I tell people all the time, I look back and was like, I was horrible back then when I started. But again, I had never had to manage people. So me,
Right.
it's just get them in the door. You come do this job. I pay you, and that's it. Like I didn't know about building relationships. I didn't know about, making these meaningful connections with my staff. I didn't really know how to treat my staff, right? And so fast forward, I learned over the years, I said, why do people keep quitting? Like, the job isn't that hard. And
Right.
I don't think I'm that difficult to, but I had to look in the mirror and say,
Yeah.
well, what are you doing, you as the leader, to make them want to stay? And
Mhm.
so I started investing in myself, learning more, reading more, trying to get around more people that were leaders, even if they weren't in the childcare industry. Fast forward to today, I'm a person that I lead from. You can follow me, but I'm going to get in there with you. I'm not going to watch you and say do this, do that. If I'm there, I don't have a problem kicking off my shoes and getting in that classroom. When if I'm in a suit, it doesn't matter. I'm also one of those people that build relationships. That is so essential to me. That's why even though I'm off site, I still show up at least once a week. I want to know the new staff. I want to know her name. I want to know, do you have children? What do you like about working here? How are they treating you here? I want her to know that even though she doesn't see me all the time, that she could still come to me. And this is my organization. And I tell her our culture. I tell her my beliefs and things that I want to see in my center. So now I'm really one of those leaders that build relationships. I know how to treat my staff. I'm big on recognition, and hence why I've had staff members with me 17 years and I've only been open 17 years.
Right.
Because I know how to treat my staff. And people always say, well, how do you do that and not become friends? Because I create those boundaries.
Yes.
You have to create those boundaries. I
Yeah.
can still treat them well. We can still laugh. But at the end of the day, they know that I am still their leader and they still have a job to do. So I have learned a lot about how to treat people, a lot about building relationships. And again, I used to think a boss was do what I say and go. No, let me show you. Let's do it together. I'm no
Right.
better than them. And they love that. They know without a shadow of a doubt. I'll get in there with them. I always
Yeah.
have staff back too. I
Yes.
go back in the day if a parent complained, it's like I'm mad at my staff all the time, and it's like, no, but I had to realize I'm not gonna throw them under the bus.
That's
No,
right.
I'm gonna have their back. And then if I still feel like they could have did it a different way, I'm gonna talk to them about it later, not
Mhm.
in front of the staff. So I've just learned a lot of little things that really go a long way when you are a leader. And you have
Yes.
to be one of those leaders that people want to follow.
Yes.
My
So
staff
I go ahead.
No, I said my staff brag about me as their leader. That makes you feel like, okay, I'm doing something right. They are
Yes.
excited for me. Like they are more excited about Born to Teach to sit at the front row and watch me do this, And that says a lot. They come to me for advice. I have staff that want to open their own business. And I'm not the person that I'm gonna, say, well, you want to leave? It's okay. If I can't provide what you want to do, I'm gonna pour into you still while you're here. And
Mhm.
they know that. I have staff members that call me that don't even work for me no more to tell me happy news. Or I know if I had a question about business, I knew Miss Galloway would be able to help me.
I love that. I love that. I am sure you're very inspirational as a leader because you are running these coaching programs, these events, and your staff are watching you. Like
Mhm.
you're working with them in the trenches, but then you're also on the stage inspiring others and helping others learn how to become a better teacher, better leader, better educator. So that's super inspirational. And I love that for you and for your team. Um, there was something that you just said that really struck me. Oh, I wanted to ask you about when you said making sure that they know that I have their back. You're building trust as a leader. There's nothing more important than you can do than sow those seeds of trust. And then it's setting those boundaries, which is great. But then how do you have hard conversations when it's time to talk to somebody who is either underperforming or has become toxic? Unfortunately, it happens. What are your strategies or how do you go about having those hard conversations with your team?
So for me, I'm always, even with the children, this is our motto. You got to give two positives before we jump into the negative. That's what I say first. So if someone's underperforming, when I bring them in, I'm going to let them know what they're doing well. I appreciate that you were doing this. You're killing it over here before I say, but this
Mm.
is what I'm seeing. And this is where we need improvement. And I'm not one of those people that when we need improvement, that I tell them and I say, now work on it. We're going to come up with a plan. Okay, this is where you're struggling. This is where I see that you're not performing. These are the next three things that we're going to do within the next 30 days. We'll meet again to see. And if not, XYZ.
Right.
The thing about building relationships and being a great leader, I can count how many times a staff member has been mad at me if I wrote them up, suspended them, fired them, calling them in my office, because I tell them all the time, this is not personal.
That's right.
Have to run a business. And if it's anything that's jeopardizing my business, the safety of the children, anything like that, I have a job to do. Licensing, anything like that, I have a job to do. So although, and I tell staff, I still like you after I fire you, but today has to be your last day. But you're still a great person. You just
Right.
made it great for me. And
Mhm.
so, but I always start those hard conversations with positives. And just like I tell my teachers, the reason it's so important to build relationships with your parents is because when you do have to have that hard conversation, they're not mad at you. They trust you, right? Like, oh no, if Miss Galloway says that you were misbehaving, you were misbehaving. But it's the same thing with staff. The
Right.
same. So building that relationship, they trust you. And even when you have to have these hard conversations, they usually will respect you for them and know where you're coming from.
Mhm. So, what is your number one piece of advice for ECE professionals and leaders?
Chris, I had so many, and they was hard for me to say, but I narrowed it down to 2, okay?
Okay. Okay. Good.
My first one was invest in your team. And at first I thought about saying stick to your policies and all these things, but it's like,
Right.
no, no, that we can, yes, that's important. But if you don't have a team to help you enforce those policies, they go out the window. So
Yeah.
I would say invest in your team. Your staff is your greatest asset.
Mhm.
All the things that you will be able to do and accomplish in your childcare business, you cannot do alone. You cannot do it alone. I tell my staff all the time when I'm appreciating them at our staff meetings, I say, I cannot do this without but you can do it without me. You do it every day without me. But if you all left, I couldn't do it. So your staff is your greatest asset. You want
Mhm.
to be encouraging them to grow, go to trainings, professional development opportunities, show appreciation, and just let them know that they're doing an amazing job all the time and how much you appreciate them. Again, for me, I live how I live and I do the things that I do because of them. So I invest in my team all the time. And I need them to get the knowledge because we're always growing. We're always trying to be better. So I don't mind sending them to professional development, to conferences and things. And I have friends in childcare and we talk and some say, I'm not doing that because they're going to quit next week. I said, they may quit, but what if they don't? I'm more afraid that I keep them without investing in them and they
Yes,
have no growth than me investing in them and they leave. That's
that's
my
right.
mind with that. So I
Yeah.
would say invest in your team. And then when you invest in them, another thing, staff retention. Again, I've had 10 years, 15 years, 17 years still with me today. But invest in them. They'll see that and they won't want to leave to go down the street. You've invested so much in them and they know you care. Another thing that I think people don't think about in this industry that hit home is take care of yourself. That is
Yes.
this industry is hard.
Yeah.
Running a childcare center is so demanding. You are literally getting pulled so many different ways. I've been there long hours, late nights, all the things that you're doing. And if you don't take care of yourself, it will drain you. I've ended up in the hospital because when I first started,
Mm.
I had been having high blood pressure since I was 30 years old because of because of childcare. Pill every day since I was
Uh,
30 because this industry is draining, but I didn't take
yeah.
care of myself. I'm on go 24/7. So I would say to a childcare owner, take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, you're not going to be good for anybody. And when you take care of yourself, take some time for you, rest, fill your cup, right? Then you make better decisions. Then you can lead more effectively. So
Mm.
this may not have been the two pieces of advice people would think, but I'm like all the policies and all that. If you don't take care of yourself and invest in your team, you won't have anybody to make that stuff happen. So
Right.
those would be two pieces that I would say that you need to start off with.
Cool. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Those are both just gems, and hopefully everybody's taking that to heart. And I hope you guys are making notes from this content because it's amazing. Let's talk about mindset, because you did mention mindset briefly. What is a mindset misstep that you see too often in our industry that you either have helped leaders with or just that you want to share that you think could be avoided?
So I think one that could be avoided, and this is for people that are coming in the industry, because we're seeing a lot more childcare providers, a lot of younger owners. And I think they come in and view childcare only as a business, right? And it is a business. I'm an advocate to say childcare is a business, but you cannot just come in only running it as a business and not putting the children first. Why did you start this? You wanted to start this for the safety, for the children, to help your community. And people get so mixed up with the money and then they start making everything about money. You're going to start losing people when that's all you think about.
That's
But if
right.
you're running a quality program and worry about, having quality, the money's going to come. And I
Yes.
want people to stop thinking the money first. And I talk to so many people and then the first things they're talking about is how much money can I make? How much money can I make? Well, you're not gonna make anything if that's all you're really thinking about,
Right.
probably because it's gonna show in your program, right?
Yeah.
So provide that quality service, put children and families at the forefront, and then it will come. I always say it's quality over quantity all
Mhm.
the time. And again, I just see so many people coming in worrying about the money. But if you build those strong relationships with those families, parents, the children, and in your community, they're going to support you and the money will come. So I just want people to stop just coming in thinking just for the money. The money is great, I won't lie. But if you're not running a program and doing all the things, you may not make all that money that
Yes.
you're trying to make.
Yes. I like to also hit that home, Latrice, with folks by focusing on value. Like, I think, yes, quality, and also remembering add value to people. We're here to add value and give an amazing service, of a valuable service that is loving, that is special, that is unique from the folks down the street. And
Yes.
it's adding value to people, to children, to families, to our team, and focusing on value first and price or money
That
second. Like you said, it will come. It will come.
But so many,
Um,
so like I said, so many of the newer owners, that's the first thing that they start asking. And it's like, let's step back first.
right.
What are your values? What is your mission? What is your vision for this before you start talking about how much money can I make?
Yes, 100%. So do you see growth happening in the ECE industry? Like, do you think that a lot of new fresh blood and younger owners and people that are young entrepreneurs are coming in to the field? I mean, because that really gives me hope. I would love to just hear your thoughts about where do you see this industry headed? What are either some things that you're seeing out there,
Mhm.
trends, or anything else that you want to share?
So I am seeing a lot of people wanting to get to the industry. And I hate to say this. I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it. I think social media makes it look so glamorous. And I tell people all the time, maybe my page does too, but I give you the real a lot of times behind the scene. If you follow me along, I'm gonna tell you the real deal. I'm going to tell you how I started. This is 17 years in, right? And so I do think people are coming. I do think there's hope. I mean, people are having children every day. That's one thing about this industry. But some of the trends that I'm seeing that I see people do like staffing. That's still, I mean, people are just, they don't know what to do with staff and they're really
Right.
struggling. That's number one trend, number one concern I hear is staffing. And I just think hiring has been hard for a lot of people and people are not pivoting. People are not being innovative with trying to find the right people. And then and then fund money too, because people want to get paid a lot more in childcare. I tell people when I started, I think it was 7.25, and well, actually, Texas is still 7.25 minimum wage, but that's what it
Right.
was when I started.
Yeah.
But you can hire people at that, and they're coming in Texas, $13. They're going, hmm?
Right.
$14, no, and I get it. So staffing has been really hard because most of the owners can't figure out a way to pay those rates to keep up with the Chick-fil-A's and the Hobby Lobbies
That's
uh
right.
corner. And so I think they need to switch it up a little bit, figure out some ways to add those benefits to give more income. And you may have to take a loss. I've taken a loss on the back end to build up. And
Yes.
sometimes you just have to do that. So I think staffing concerns is a big one, and people increasing their prices trying to keep up with this is
Yeah.
people that said I haven't increased my rates in years, and it's like, how are you sustaining? And so
Exactly.
now they're seeing you got to.
You've got to do annual rate increases. And I think looking at the economics of your school when you're starting is thinking about if I have 100 capacity or 150 capacity versus if I have 50, can I actually make money with a 50 capacity location? It's much harder to pay staff $18 an hour that they're asking for with a 50 child capacity. It's just so you got to look at the economics of the balance sheet of let's dive into projections in terms of if I charge these level of tuition and I have to pay $18 an hour on average or whatever and offer these benefits, am I still going to be able to turn a profit?
Yes, I
You know,
absolutely agree. I have clients that say, I just want a small center, maybe 20, 25. And the first question I say is, let's do the numbers. I said, and are you going to be the director on 25 students? Are you going to be able to hire a director, pay them $60,000 a year, pay your staff, have some money for you and your bills? Let's think about this.
right.
And let's do the numbers. Let's look at it,
Yeah.
and it definitely does change. And I get having a bigger capacity is definitely more overhead, but you still have you have room.
Yes.
I have a lot of room with 20, 25 children, 50 is even tight,
Yes.
So I definitely think and another trend that I'm seeing is, again, social media keeps all the trends going. Is
Yeah.
how I see it, especially for the generation that we're in now, like, right? Um, it's looking real cool to go to professional development. And I think it's amazing because now you're seeing everybody talking about investing yourself, investing yourself. And so now people are thinking, maybe I do need to invest in myself. Maybe I do need a coach. Maybe I do need to go to a conference. Where when I started, nobody said invest in yourself. Nobody said a coach. We went to the conference. The only conference we went to was to get our 24 hours that licensing required of professional development.
That's right.
That's it.
That was
But
it.
now the trend is go to the conference, invest in yourself, hire
Mhm.
the coach. And I just think that's great because people are really investing in their knowledge so they can go back and really grow these programs and offer amazing services to their families and students. So I think that's a big trend I'm seeing it, but I love it.
Yeah, I do too. Obviously, I am a huge proponent of
Absolutely.
getting a coach. I've worked with coaches since the beginning, being in a mastermind group myself. as a
Mhm.
CEO, as a founder, and I highly recommend. I wouldn't build a business if I didn't have a coach and a mastermind group, because you learn so much about what to do, what not to do. You get shortcuts, you get advice, you get strategies. And if you go home and implement those, you are going to succeed, you know?
Yes, it saves so much time and so much money. When I hear people
Yeah,
say, "Oh, that costs too much to have a coach." Do you know how much you're gonna lose trying to do this on your own?
100%.
It's
Mic
cheaper to
drop.
get a coach.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I want to ask you the age-old question of the podcast, since this is Childcare Rockstar Radio. How do you define a childcare rockstar?
So I would say a childcare rock star is someone who is a visionary leader and they are setting big goals. They see the bigger picture in this industry, in their business, and with the children as well. They're making an impact and they are inspiring others to do the same and just to grow and see the growth in this industry. And they're killing it in their childcare business and inspiring others to do the same. I
Mm.
think they're a rock star.
Yeah, I love that. I'm very excited to come and be with you in Houston here in a couple weeks to the Born to Teach, Born to Lead Con. Tell us a little bit about the conference. How long has this conference, like, is this, how many years has it been going? I don't even know if it's this is first year. So tell me more, because
Okay.
I need to know the history,
Yes.
and what was the inspiration for this conference?
Okay, so this is our inaugural conference. This is the first one
Oh,
ever. So
yay.
I went, I've always had the vision of just events and stuff, especially once I became the Childcare Chick. I was like, man, I want a place where we can get together and just talk and learn and network. Like I want to be around other people that understand what I'm going through. And so I started hosting these little brunches and then they would sell out. I was like, oh my God. I remember the first brunch, I told the person who did it with me, I said, let's just find a venue for 50 people. Like, I'm scared. Like, are we going to even sell 50 tickets? Like, tickets sold the first week. And I was like, oh my God. So
Yeah.
the next one, I said, okay, 100 capacity. This is going to be tough. 100 sold that quick. So it kind of led. And so the last one I
Yeah.
had, it with the sneaker ball, it was just so good, and I've been having this on my heart to have a conference, but I was really nervous, and so after that conference, I said, "This is it." And Julie Roy, she spoke there, and she looked at me and she said, "What you're bringing needs to be in a bigger arena and breakouts and classrooms. It is so much knowledge, so much value, and you need to go bigger. Think about it." And it was already
Nice.
me. And I was like, maybe this was who you sent to tell me to go for it. So I did. I went directly in the planning phase. I said, I'm going to invest in this thing and I'm going to do it because I know what I needed when I started, right? And I needed a group of people that I could relate to, that would has been where I'm at and that could help me grow. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to do it, but I wanted to bring teachers and leaders together.
Mhm.
That's what I wanted to do. Only because I've been to conferences and I come back so pumped and I'm telling my staff like, "Oh, I learned this, this, and this," and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was nice," and I'm like, "You're not excited," and they weren't there to get the excitement. And so I said, you know what? If we come together, I feel like sometimes that's a missing piece too. Leaders don't understand some of the things the teachers are saying, and teachers are like, "Oh, if my leader just understood this, and my director doesn't understand that." But if we can get in the same environment, you can get around other people and you can hear from different perspectives together and we can learn together, grow together. When we go back on Monday, we're going to all be pumped and we're going to all go in our centers and kill it. Another thing that I'm big on, again, I'm big on branding, is engagement. I told you that I like to make learning fun. And I wanted to bring that same piece to the conference because when you're doing things like this, you have to know your audience, right? And I know my audience. So bringing that engagement piece, that fun piece to the conference, as well as that learning and bringing it together, I think is something a little bit different, and bringing the teachers with them. And I'm just super excited. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And we are, in my mind, I had a list of people I wanted to work with. Not one person really reached out to me. I had my list and I said, if they say no, they say no. I'm going to just go down. I'm a person that takes risks, whatever. And so some of my people said, "Are you crazy? You're going to ask Kris? Are you crazy? You're going to try to get Ron Clark?" And I said, I
Uh-huh.
am a little crazy. I mean, all they can say is no. And
Right.
so I was super excited that you said yes. And so I'm just excited. One of the questions you asked was something that I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
coming up, and it's sharing the stage with you.
Yay. That makes me so happy. I'm so happy about that. And I can't wait to share the stage with you as well and be with you in person and all these amazing
Yes.
leaders and teachers. And I love your vision for bringing the leaders and the teachers together in the same event. It's so unique and needed
Mhm.
and special. And it's going to, I think the vibration, like the energy that's
Yes.
going to be in that room and in that event is going to be so yummy and so just palpable and heartfelt. And I can't wait to be part of it. So this episode of this podcast drops just a few days before the event, but go ahead and give the information just in case somebody does want to come up last minute. I don't know if it's sold out, but what's the website and how can somebody potentially get a last minute ticket?
So if you want to get a last minute ticket, I think we're down to about our last 35 tickets, but it's www.borntoteachcon.com. But if you can't make it, we did add a virtual option. So you will be able to see all the keynotes virtually and all the breakout sessions. So you can get a
Cool.
virtual ticket as well. And you can get that up till the day before at borntoteachcon.com.
Nice. I love that. And also it is in Houston. So if you
Yes.
also happen to be located in Texas, come on down and I can't wait to see everybody there. We're doing a fireside chat, you and I, and
Chris, are you wearing pink?
you know I'm wearing pink. I mean, stop it. And then we're having a PJ party the night before, which I think I'm gonna have to get pink pajamas.
Pink pajamas and
Yeah.
a hat.
Hat.
Yes.
All right. All right. Cool. Well, beyond that, anything else that you want to share with the audience? Any final words, final thoughts, anything at all?
Nothing else really to share, but I just want to tell you, thank you for having me. And y'all keep killing it and being childcare rock stars because I am watching, I see, and we are making some major moves in this industry. And I could not be more excited to be part of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Latrice Galloway, for being here on the podcast today. The Childcare Chick in
Yay.
the house. I love it. And I've had a great time with you today on this episode. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in once again. And we'll see y'all next time. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you liked this episode of Childcare Rockstar Radio. If you did, please leave a review and share it with someone you know to help spread the word to friends in our industry and on social media. Childcare business success is my passion, and I'm honored to be on this journey with you. As a thank you for listening, I've got a new video training that shows you how to add 6 figures or more of new revenue to your program in the next 60 days by improving your hiring and your enrollment systems. To watch my new video, just go to www.fixmyschool.com. That's fixmyschool.com. Thanks. Take care and God bless.